Hey everyone, welcome back to G-World. Dr. Disrespect has officially returned and made a whole new statement about the situation. I have a few things to say, a few notes, and I'll break it down just a little bit, but ultimately you guys are here to watch the statement, so we're going to play the 20 minutes of Dr. Disrespect responding to it, and then I'll add some context after the fact and maybe poke a few holes in it, but I want to know what you guys think without hearing what I say first. So here you go.
Yeah, just keep ignoring the issue and putting up this act. God, I'm so concerned and worried about everyone else's problems except mine because I'm dealing with a deeper depression and I like to project. Oh, champs. A lot of people donating. I do appreciate it. I do appreciate it. You know? Are you nervous to be back? After what's transpired over the last couple months, am I excited to be back to this type of world? God. Man. So glad you're back. Hey, I appreciate it, Shane. It's good to be back to a certain degree, right? We got to figure out this monetization thing. So September 25th is basically when we can reapply for partnership on YouTube, you know? People ask, like, now that you're not getting monetized, you're not going to be streaming ever again or you're on YouTube, are you? There's an opportunity to reapply, right? September 25th is the date. So in the meantime, we'll do what we need to do. I enjoy my time here on YouTube. You know, we've built a nice, strong community for years. This is where we started 16 years ago. 2008, I think. You know? I like my time here. And I like the community. We've got the best, realest gaming community, right? The Champions Club. And we've built it on this platform, and if there's an opportunity to reapply for partnership, and there's a date that's been presented to us, then I'm going to take it. In the meantime, like we always done, we've always stayed in our lane. We'll stay in our lane and continue to just put on a show. You know? For almost 4 years, champs, the public demanded to hear from the doc regarding the Twitch suspension. I guess since you all missed the point with my personal statement, maybe it's time to tell my side of the story. Huh, champs? You see, there was a lawsuit pending, and as part of that arbitration, all parties were not allowed to speak publicly about the case. I respected those rules. My lawsuit against Twitch was eventually resolved, as you all know. But even then, as part of the settlement, all parties were still prohibited from speaking publicly about the case or the settlement. However, if one side violated that confidentiality, then the other side could respond. And again, champs, I respected all the confidential obligations. But apparently Twitch's own disgruntled employees didn't feel the need to abide by those same obligations. Cody Connors, ex-Twitch employee, wasn't even involved, leaks Twitch's reported reason. Years later, Cody, why do this? What was the point? This was settled professionally. And you, knowing how black and white the internet is, you decided, you fucking rat, to leak the reported reason Twitch banned me in 2020. I mean, for what? Cody? Why? Did you not know the repercussions from spewing lies about the two-time? Did you not know the repercussions of accusing me, Cody Connors? You see, you don't know shit, and it was obvious from your tweet. You didn't have any firsthand knowledge of my dispute with Twitch. You said that I got banned from Twitch because I was sexting a minor through Whisper's messages? Do you even know what the legal definition of sexting is? I do. And yeah, I used Twitch as Whispers, but trust me, I wasn't sexting anyone. You also said the word minor, Cody. I even made sure that word was emphasized in my statement, edited, etc., just to make sure these so-called journalists would pick up on it. And boy, oh boy, did they ever, champs. When you and all these so-called journalists, Cody, fired off your tweets, did any of you consider that the Twitch user may have been over the legal age of consent at the time of the messages? You didn't. Neither did any of these journalists, and neither did Twitch at the time of the ban. You also tried to tell the world that I was trying to meet up with this user at TwitchCon, but you're wrong. Let's set the record straight. I never intended to meet this user ever. We never made plans to meet at TwitchCon or anywhere else, and in fact, we never met in person ever. Your bullshit accusations gave false courage to other former Twitch employees to make shit up as well. I suspect all of you sort of planned and coordinated this attack. These big-time publications, these journalists, these various outlets are sort of just gossip channels now, don't you think, champs? They act like they're just gossip channels now, without any real journalism and real research happening. They reported on all this based on leaks from two former Twitch employees, one of whom was supposedly on the trust and safety team. If these anonymous sources worked on the trust and safety team at the time of my Twitch suspension in 2020, then you would hope they would tell the truth. But apparently that's just too much to ask. If these former trust and safety team members, and by the way, I know exactly who they are, actually had firsthand knowledge, then what they conveniently left out is, one, Twitch's trust and safety team, the same employees that decided to ban me, internally admitted that the whisper messages were not sexting. And two, Twitch's trust and safety team, the same employees that decided to ban me, internally acknowledged that the whispers did not constitute child sexual abuse material CSAM. I'll say it again. Neither I nor the Twitch user exchanged any sexual graphic messages or images. Cody Connors and these other anonymous sources are trying to paint a picture that I was exchanging sexually explicit messages and photos with this Twitch user. That never happened. I even used the word inappropriate, purposely. And look at how it was defined by everyone, champs. Huh? Including these defaming articles. I'm sorry, but mutual bantering with inappropriate jokes taken out of context should have never led to me getting banned from Twitch in the first place. I mean, how would each of you look if all of your private DMs, your text messages, your chats were looked at, dissected, and taken out of context by someone who's deliberately trying to find something inappropriate in those words? And this is not a situation where a victim publicly accuses someone of wrongdoing. That never happened here. We're talking about allegations that Twitch made against me as a half-baked reason for justifying their actions of suspending and shutting down my channel. Allegations that Twitch made without even a legal analysis of whether the whisper messages were legal. You see, I engage with my community. I engage with other streamers. And through Twitch Whispers, I communicate with Twitch users. Conversations that consisted of a variety of playing games and gaming politics, content creation, random stuff. This was the extent of my whispers with this Twitch user. On June 21st, 2020, my ex-Twitch partner manager learns that I exchanged whispers with the Twitch user. And I say ex-partner manager because for years, this guy didn't do anything for me, my community, or my channel. For years. I'm talking no front page love. You're talking about the face of the platform, right? Literally. The face of the platform. And I know Champions Club remembers this. We got zero front page love on the website. He was never on my channel. He didn't follow me on Twitter. He wouldn't even inform us about Twitch rival tournaments. We're talking about the two-time Twitch rival tournament. Oh, I'm sorry. Would you want to play in it? We got zero support from this guy. And it was just so obvious that he carried a grudge against the two-time. So after we signed with Twitch in 2019, we asked for a new partner manager. And just a few months later, that ex-Twitch partner manager is directly involved with getting me banned. Coincidence? The Twitch user tells the ex-Twitch partner manager that they do not want to report anything to Twitch. I'll repeat that sentence one more time just in case anybody missed that one. The Twitch user tells this ex-Twitch partner manager that they do not want to report anything to Twitch. But this ex-Twitch partner manager encourages the user and even directs them to file a report directly with Twitch, even though the user told him clearly that we never physically met anywhere and that no photographs were exchanged. On June 24th, 2020, Twitch's special operations team receives and reviews the user's report. They find no issues and determine that it did not warrant any further escalation to Twitch's law enforcement response team. That would have been the end. That should have been the end. But that partner manager, oh boy, did he had it out. He had it out for the two-time. He finds out that no further action will be taken, so what does he do? He personally escalates the report to a friend on the Twitch's LER team. The LER team, remember, that's the Twitch's law enforcement response team. He escalates the report to a friend on Twitch's LER team. So a day later, on June 25th, the LER analyst pulls the entirety of the whisper messages and begins discussing them with his director of the LER team. Mind you, this director is on vacation at that time and does not have access to their computer or work files. Let me just remind you, I went through a multi-year, big-time arbitration, okay? And, you discover a lot of stuff. Mind you, this director is on vacation at that time. The LER analyst cherry picks and sends a few targeted excerpts out of context from the whisper messages to this director. Now, if you do this, you can make anyone's messages look inappropriate, even when they aren't. Within less than 1 hour, this LER analyst and his director have made the decision to suspend me from Twitch. Twitch submits a report to NCMEC. You guys all read those little articles, huh? The NCMEC. Twitch submits that report. The National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. Guess what? As far as I know, and over 4 years have passed, they didn't do anything with the report. As far as I know, they didn't escalate Twitch's report to law enforcement. Mind you, the same people that made this decision admit internally that the messages did not constitute sexting. The same people that made this decision at Twitch admit internally that the messages did not warrant any child sexual abuse material charge. Twitch makes this decision to terminate my contract and ban me while admitted they did not perform any legal analysis of whether the messages exchanged were illegal in any way. Twitch makes this decision to terminate my contract and ban me while admitting that they never investigated the age of consent in the jurisdiction where the user's messages were sent and received. Twitch makes this decision to terminate my contract and ban me without ever interviewing me, the user, or any other third party, including the partner manager. It's fucking unbelievable! I'm not going to get into every detail regarding my legal case, but these former Twitch employees that claim to have firsthand knowledge, they just don't have a clue. They didn't report any facts. The judge in the case determined that the whispers were not illegal. So then why did Twitch use these messages against me? Why did Twitch treat the doc so differently from their other streamers? I mean, outside of the obvious. I mean, just take a look at me. Right? Unfiltered. The realest motherfucker in this industry. 6'8", gorgeous, athletic, successful, college degree, college athlete, bourbon business, gaming studio, beautiful family. And trust me, we've worked hard for over a decade to improve as a person, a husband, and father, and to get where we're at today. I mean, I'm in such a good place today. And all these people, they all act like they're just so perfect. I'm not perfect. I don't claim to be perfect. Sometimes I do. But I also didn't do all the shit that they're saying I did. But then that doesn't make a story, right? They wanted media attention. The media wants controversy. And by sensationalizing all of this with big, inaccurate headlines like sexting and sexually explicit, you all got what you wanted at the expense of the tube time. The reality is, they wanted to cut down the doc. Plain and simple. Take a look at some of these horrendous acts of Twitch streamers that were never banned. I've got some examples right here. Example number 1. A streamer that frequently used the N-word while publicly streaming, which constitutes a violation of Twitch's policies if accompanied by hateful intent. Twitch scheduled a meeting with the streamer to ascertain his intent to determine whether his conduct was a violation of Twitch's policies, ultimately determining it was not a breach of Twitch's policies. Why wasn't I called into a meeting? Why wasn't my intent taken into consideration, champs? Example number 2. Streamer was reported for discussing doing things with deceased animals and discussing pedophilia, all while live streaming. Never suspended, but instead given a multi-million-dollar contract. Example number 3. Streamer was reported for a sexually explicit stream involving children and telling children to send Snapchats of them playing with themselves. Never suspended, but instead, given a multi-million-dollar contract. It's so obvious that certain Twitch executives, employees involved had personal biases against the doc and used all of this as an opportunity to terminate my contract. Go back and look at the timing of all this too. The doc's termination lines up with 2 preferable, profitable, and expensive streamers leaving Mixer. As soon as Twitch knew that Mixer had failed, and go look at the timing. These other expensive streamers needed a new streaming platform. So Twitch rushed through its decision to terminate the tube time. You see, I shouldn't even be banned from Twitch. It has affected us on so many levels. Back in 2020, and now in 2024. And Cody Connors, I just have to say it again. Why would you do this? Like I said, this was handled professionally years ago. No fucking wrongdoing. But because of you, Cody, we just lost. Fuck, man. Unfortunately, we have to lay off people from Midnight Society. Right? Because of you, Cody. You know, through all this, we are where we are. And like a fucking man, I'll accept it. What I don't accept is sitting quietly by and let these idiots attack me with false accusations. No. For all these doc haters out there too, oh man, the ones that project and project and project and project and worry about everyone else's problems, right? I can't understand that mindset. I could care less. We've always stayed in our lane. But somehow, some way, these people, they just get in our lane. For all you doc haters, I'm sure you'll dissect all of this and still find a way to publicly criticize me. Do what you need to do. I'll say this isn't for you. This was for my team today, my community, my friends, La Familia that have supported me. And I'm not denying the exchange of whispers, champs. I'm not denying that to all of you out there. It looks bad. I have no way of knowing if the Twitch user thought our exchange of whispers was inappropriate. If it was, I apologize. All I know is that I never did what Twitch, Cody Connors, or the public is claiming that I did.
So there's a ton of information there. I think Jake is going to do a breakdown in a few days too. He is in Texas, of course, right now. He went early. But one of the biggest gripes that people seem to have is that we still just want to see whatever the messages are. There's a lot of talk on both sides about these messages. People saying they're inappropriate. Him even saying originally that they bordered on inappropriate messages, but now seeming like he did that on purpose, which is a little bit confusing, and also saying that anybody's messages taken out of context could be inappropriate and wouldn't be good for them. So there's a lot of gray area in there that's really confusing to me. And so I think a lot of people just still want to see the messages, just show them. Obviously, you must have them. If you went through a very long arbitration, the proof is there somewhere. And so I still find it interesting that that has not been shared by either side at this point. I think the biggest point that Doc is trying to drive home here is that, hey, I did nothing illegal. There was no guilt found in the situation. It went through court. It even got escalated to the National Center for Missing and Endangered Children or Exploited Children or something like that. I forget what it stands for. And they did nothing either. And so after all of these escalations, there was still no guilt of anything illegal being done. And he drives that home very hard. He also talks about this age of consent situation where they didn't look into what the age of consent was in the state that the messages were being received, even though there was nothing done to begin with. As he claims, there was no sexual pictures or there was no meetup happening, but he brings up that this age of consent wasn't looked into in the state that they were receiving the messages, which I do still find kind of weird, because the only situation where that argument matters is, say someone is 16 and in that state the age of consent is 16 versus 18. Again, I think it's just pushing into a gray area that I feel like you shouldn't even have to argue. If you're a man who is married and has a kid, then why are you having to argue about the gray lines of what the age of consent is? If they were 16, 17, or 18, it's still weird at the end of the day and immoral. But to Doc's point, this is not a judge of morals. This is a judge of legality. And he is very much focused on the fact that legally nothing was done wrong by him. All that is a lot of gray mumbo jumbo to me, where it just depends on what you focus on and what your values as a person are going to align with. You might align with Dr. Disrespect and say, hey, there was nothing illegal done, so why are we making a big deal out of another man's morals? Why are we sitting here judging him when we have all had questions questionable things happen in our lives. Like he even said, nobody's perfect. And I agree with that. And so some people are going to focus on that side of things and say, well, legally nothing was wrong. And so who am I to sit here and judge this man and put him on blast in front of the internet? Versus other people are going to look at it and say, well, it's still a scummy thing to do. And he acted like he didn't do anything wrong, which makes it feel even grosser. And so it just depends. Are you in the morality or the legality camp? And that, I think, is going to affect a lot of how you look on this situation. Then one of the bigger claims that Doc is making throughout this is about his partner manager. He says that he had an old disgruntled partner manager who did nothing for him his entire time he was at Twitch. He then requested a new one, and soon after that, that partner manager escalated these messages up into the legality team at Twitch. Then that team's director, or whoever it was that was on vacation, made the call off of a few screenshots of select messages that were taken out of a broader context, supposedly, and made the decision to suspend Dr. Disrespect. And there's no way to know. Again, this is going to come down to how you are seeing things, but these are some pretty big accusations on Doc's side of saying, hey, this employee had a bone to pick with me. He didn't do anything for me, and I tried to get rid of him and get a new one, and he didn't like me. Thus, out of that dislike, he decided to put those messages out of context somewhere else so that then I would get in trouble for them, which I'm not going to say is impossible, right? I am going to say that it's impossible to know. Like at this point, all of us as the audience are just along for the ride with whatever Doc or old Twitch employees say. Because if you're taking Doc for his word here and for his judgment as well, saying this person was disgruntled and therefore they decided to come after me and try to get rid of me, then that sucks, right? And that's totally plausible that someone in Twitch could have a problem with someone and just punish them for it. It's not the first time we've heard of things like that. One of the crazier things, though, that Doc did bring up was this whole Mixer situation. I was really confused about it when he brought up the Mixer big streamers. When Mixer was going down, he suggests that his ban aligned the same time that these streamers would need to come back and have a place to be, as if he was freeing up budget for these streamers by getting banned. You can only assume that these big names would be Shroud and Ninja, the two headliners for the Mixer deals. And I just felt like that was a really big reach to say that somehow Twitch was looking at the books and being like, well, we got to get rid of Doc so then we can afford Shroud and Ninja. Those are the guys we want. Like, yes, Shroud and Ninja were big, but Dr. Disrespect really was one of the biggest streamers on the platform, so I don't think it was a checks and balances thing. That just felt like a really big reach to me. And also, going back to this whole Twitch employee thing, it seems as if he's also suggesting that they pressured the individual who is receiving messages to escalate the issue to Twitch to begin with, as if that person stated that they did not even want it to be a problem, but then Twitch suggested that they should report it to Twitch officially. Again, a claim by Dr. Disrespect that paints Twitch as a terrible group of people, to be honest with you, or at least a terrible person who is working for them, who is just pressuring people to do things that they didn't want to do in order to set Dr. Disrespect up. Anyways, let me know what you guys think. Ultimately, I think I have to go back to what I already said. It's either legality or morality and how you're looking at this. This is a lot of he said, she said, until we see the messages. That's all a lot of people want is, hey, I can't even make a personal judgment until I know what actually happened. What are these messages you're talking about that Doc says they're phrased, they're taken out of context to look like they're more inappropriate than they are, I guess? But then Twitch seemed to think that it was reasonable enough to escalate to the National Center of Missing and Exploited Children. And so what are these messages at the end of the day? Because ultimately, like, I can't decide, I can't look at nothing and make a decision. And regardless, he says they never met up. There was never any plans to meet up at TwitchCon or anything like that. There were never any photos exchanged. And so, yes, like that slate is clean in that sense. If you're talking to a 16-year-old as a married man with a child who is also a minor, then it's still scummy. Like, it's so gross. It's a complicated situation, guys, but let me know what you think. Try to keep it tame in the comments. I know you guys don't always agree with me, which is fine. I encourage conversation and even arguing. Just keep it tame a little bit. We'll catch you later.